Hello there, everyone. Welcome. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Skye. I am a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under St. Hegyes and Kota Hegyes, depending on if you want longer novels and novellas or short stories. And we're going to do some productivity sprints today. So, here. Yes. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. I got new headphones and I'm trying them out and I'm not loving them. But we're making them work. If you're new to my channel and haven't been to one of my sprint streams before, what we tend to do is 30-minute writing sprints with some chit chat in between. We're going to do 30-minute sprints using the timer I just pulled up. Let me get it on screen because I wasn't prepared and I didn't do that before we started the stream. There we go. Okay, you like to use the Pomodoro Kitty timer to sprint, and um, it has a built-in timer, like a break timer in between as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. What am I working on tonight? I honestly have no clue exactly what I'm going to be working on. I've got a couple different projects I could work on. I don't know which of those I'm going to work on yet. I have finished uploading the sixth story of the Sultry Solstices series. It's up for pre-order. It comes out on Tuesday. 7 is out with beta readers. It comes out in 2 weeks. So there's that. I have a couple other projects that are coming out this year, hopefully. Two are definitely coming out. One is already up for pre-order. The other one, I need to finish going over beta reader notes, finalize everything with it, format it, and get it uploaded. I also have to write the description for it. Let's see what else I have to do. Then the writing prompt book is what I was working on last night. I discovered I had a bunch of duplicate prompts and I think I fixed that. So I still need to go back through that and double check and make sure I've actually finished that before I can move on to the next step with that book, which is getting the couple of short stories that were submitted for it read and edited and uploaded to it. So I've got a couple things I could work on today. I just don't know what I am going to be actively working on today yet. So um, all of those are dealing with editing, and what I really want to do is I want to start drafting again. I've got a couple of projects. I was doing a bit of journaling the other day to try to figure out what I wanted to work on between now and the end of the year, what I need to finish between now and the end of the year. Because what I'm trying to get to the point where I'm doing is I am trying to get to the point where I write whatever I'm going to publish the next year, the year prior. So like everything I want to publish in 2027, I'm trying to write here at the end of 2026, or at least most of it. So not necessarily edit it, just draft it. So taking a look over at the comments section, feel free to let us know what you're working on tonight, what you're doing, and yeah, we'll see what we all get up to as far as shenanigans go. And I'm going to have to get different headphones. I just got brand new headphones, and I don't like the way they sit on my head. It actually is hurting my head the way they're sitting. But my other ones were dying, and so I gotta find a new pair of headphones that sit correctly. It doesn't help that I have like a child-sized head, and nothing fits correctly. Really, like even these are the part of the reason they are hurting my head is they're too big, so they're too far down on my ears, and they're not sitting like up where they need to be. And that's part of like this is where they need to sit. You can see that gap between my head. And that's with my hair poofy. So gotta break down and buy like a gaming set of headphones or something because they are the only things that seem to get small enough for me. I don't know. They keep sliding too. So yeah, that's where I'm sitting at currently. I don't really think there's anything much to talk about. I don't see anyone in the chat yet, so we're gonna probably go ahead and get started with our first sprint. Feel free to join in. We're gonna do 30 minutes on the clock. I'm gonna figure out what I'm working on. Let me know what you're working on. and we're going to get some writing done. Or if you're doing something else entirely, whatever it is you're doing that's being productive. So, 30 minutes on the clock. For those who are new and haven't joined me for sprints before, I am going to be putting up a writing prompt on the screen as well for anyone who wants to write but doesn't know what they want to write about. Clicking over on the chat real quick, Renee is here. Hello, hello. I use Beats Over the Head's headphones and I love them. Adjust to my head. Feel free to send me a link to those if you've got one handy dandy, because I have not seen any. I need to have wired ones because my computer does not allow me to use wireless, and that's the one problem I'm having too. I can find plenty of headphones that I know will fit my head, but all the newer models seem to be like wireless, and my desktop doesn't have Bluetooth capabilities, so that's fun. Cat Paw's also here. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. So we're gonna do 30 minutes. Our first writing prompt is dealing with school because school just started this week, and it says, "What do you mean you didn't get first day of school photos? You always take pictures before the first day of school." Because I just had a realization the other day, a little bit ago when I was trying to come up with today's prompts. I'm generally the person that tries to get first day of school photos, and I didn't this year. So this writing prompt is definitely based off my own life right now. So that is going to be our first prompt for our first 30-minute sprint. We're going to do that and we'll be back and chit chat in between. So starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. That is time, everyone. Let us know how you did, what you did in the comments. I ordered headphones. Renee was lovely enough to send me a link to the headphones she's got, so I ordered those plus another pair just in case the first one doesn't work. And I had to switch out the headphones from my old ones. I wish I could get another pair of these. These are the best headphones I've ever had. These are Razer, I believe. I believe that's what these are. But alas, I bought these in 2017, and they no longer make them. So there's that. If I could get my hands on another pair of these, honestly, that's what I would do. This is the pair I've been using, and they're completely dead in one side and they're dying on the other, which is the reason I've been looking at replacing them. And I bought the ones, they are one, I guess it's pronounced audio, ODIO. They're supposed to be good headphones. I bought a slightly cheaper set because they looked fairly similar to these as far as like the design goes. So that's what I bought. And they don't fit right. So I've got two pairs of headphones on the way that we'll try. I'm going to return the one audio ones, and then we'll go from there. And then the two I got, one is a gaming headset that's very similar to these, and the other ones are the ones that Renee sent me a link for. So that's what I've got coming out. I want to say these are, because I had to look it up earlier. That's how I know when I got them in 2017. Yeah, Kraken Pro. These are Razors. I really wish I could get another pair of these. And yeah, I bought them September 30th, 2017. And I've made them work this long, off and on. But alas, they are not working that much anymore. So, how do you guys do? Let me know in the comments. Other than ordering headphones, I was looking over a couple of different projects. I was looking over the writing prompt story. I've finished getting all of the prompts fixed and put back into the document. The only thing I have to do now is go over. I had 2 submissions for short stories for like writing prompt examples, so I need to read back over those. And the chair keeps singing, even though I just raised it. Interesting. So I need to read over those and get those looked at eventually at some point. And then right before like the sprint ended, I was looking at the journaling I did to see what other projects I wanted to work on between now and the end of the year. And most of the projects I want to work on are the next series in the Serenity universe. So I have finalized everything for Sultry Solstices, which is the first series in the Serenity universe. For those who don't know, there are going to be 7 series, each with 7 short stories, so a total of 49 short stories. And the final story of the first one is with beta readers, so just waiting for feedback on that, and I'm free to work on whatever I want to in between. And so I journaled the other day about the projects that I need to edit before the end of the year and the projects I need to write before the end of the year. And most of the projects that I need to write before the end of the year are the next series that I want to come out starting next year. So the first story in that series was originally published in a anthology. The way that it's formatted, so with Sultry Solstices, the way I've got Sultry Solstices formatted, originally when it was the first story of that series was published in an anthology, it was just 7 chapters. Yeah, it was just 7 chapters from the main character's point of view. And then when I decided to turn it into a series, and then the first in a universe, I added 2 chapters, a beginning chapter and an end chapter from the male POV's point of view, and I added an epilogue which featured the POV of the character who would be the main character in the next story. With this story, which is going to be the first in the second series, the way it's formatted is it's from the monster's POV, and there are 5 chapters. So now I'm trying to figure out, do I want to rework it so it's 7 chapters? Do I want to leave it the way it is? Or do I want to add like the beginning and end chapters and an epilogue chapter from the love interest point of view and the next character's point of view? Like, I've got to figure out if I want to format it the same way or leave it the way it is. It's already a longer story as is. The original stories the original story for Sultry Solstices, which the first one's called Presumed Dead. Presumed Dead was originally like an 8,000 word short story, and now it's about 13,000 words with the additional chapters. Monster's Treasure, which is the first one in the next series, is already a little over 14,000 words, and I'm trying to make sure none of the stories in this series are over 15K. I don't want them over 15,000 words. So I've either got to edit it down some more and shorten it so that I can add those additional chapters, or I need to leave off those additional chapters and this one will just be a different type of story, which I'm good with either way. I just have to figure out what I want to do. I might send it to, once I have Sultry Solstices back, I might send this one to a couple beta readers and be like, hey, so this is going to be the first one in the next series. How should I do this? And see what their thoughts are. So that's always a possibility. All right, let's go look at the comments real quick and see what's everyone's going on. Laura is here. Hey, yo, doing my homework. Nice, congratulations. Which class is this for, out of curiosity? I feel like you're doing 1, maybe 2 classes this currently, and I cannot remember if it's 1 or 2. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 or what the class or classes are. No, Laura says, I just found the missing variable. What's the missing variable? The missing variable of what? Or is it you're working on math homework and that you're legit being serious about missing variables because it's math homework? I am curious. Stats. Okay, there you go. So she legit is talking about missing variables. There is a spider coming off my camera. Okay, there we go. Behavioral science statistics. Okay, that's a mouthful. That is awesome, though. Oh, goodness. My other one is creative writing. So you are doing 2 classes. Okay. I could not remember if you were doing 1 or 2 classes this semester. Sorry about the yawning. I am tired. It's been a long week. That's the other thing I should probably mention. So I'm doing the stream today. Next Saturday, I will not be streaming. My schedule for next week has shifted a little bit. I am mostly on a Monday through Friday work schedule, so I work Monday night through Friday night, and I get off on Saturday mornings. However, next week, the other person who works the same shift as I do and does those other 2 days, she requested Saturday off. So I am working Saturday, and instead she's working my Monday. So I'm working Tuesday through Saturday next week instead of Monday through Friday. And because of that, I'm not going to be able to stream on Saturday because I have to be at work at 11, which is in another hour from now for me. So that's just not going to happen. There's no way I can stream and still go to work. I am not that good. So next week there will be no stream. I might stream on Sunday night instead because I still want to stream because I don't want to lose the habit of like being productive and doing stuff. So I might do a Sunday night stream instead of a Saturday stream. I haven't decided yet. And I got on Discord earlier today and I was like, yeah, I got a 3-day weekend because I have tonight, tomorrow, and now Monday night off because my schedule shifted. And so I was telling a couple people, I was like, I will be backstage all day. And guess who has not been backstage all day? I have been home, but I've been trying to like sleep and like get my sleep schedule back on track. I just haven't been feeling good. I've been overheating for absolutely no reason. My husband and I were joking earlier. I was like, I'm too young for hot flashes, but that's what this feels like. Because I just could not, for the life of me. I had the AC blowing directly on me. I was standing out. It rained this afternoon. I was standing out in the rain, and I was like, I'm just too hot. And I'm one of those people that Once upon a time, if I got really hot, I could still sleep. And these days, if I get too hot, I can't sleep. So, like, I was trying just to take a nap today so I could be up the rest of the day and sleep tonight, which is what I normally do on my days off. I try to sleep at night instead of being awake at night. But no, that was a no go. I laid in bed tossing and turning because I just could not cool off enough to go to sleep. So that's fun. And because of that, I felt miserable most of today, even though technically I've had enough sleep to do exactly what I wanted to do. It's been broken up here and there in like 30-hour long chunks of naps when I wanted like 3 hours straight. So, Cat Paw says today started way too early, now attempting to set up the cheap tablet I ordered to use to read ebooks on, and brain's not braining no more. I feel that because that goes hand in hand with what I was just talking about, just different reasons. Not enough sleep being those reasons for both of us. Um, but yay for tablets. Hopefully it works. What kind of tablet did you end up getting? I've heard a lot of good things about Kogos. I don't know if that's what you got or if you got something completely different. I still have my Kindle from whenever Kindle first came out, the Kindle Fire, the very first Kindle Fire that came out. That's what I ordered. It's no longer usable. It's within that range that they said they were going to stop doing support for the Kindle. So it's basically a brick, but I haven't replaced it because now I have different reading apps on my phone. So, and then I've got my iPad, which I usually take with me to work for writing related stuff. I did make a discovery this week. So this week has been lots of like editing and um, formatting and stuff like that. Trying to finalize everything for Sultry Solstices 6, which comes out on Tuesday, as well as trying to finish up 7 so I could get it sent off to beta readers. I was trying to do those two things simultaneously. And I have discovered this week that I love drafting on the tablet. I need to stop drafting on the tablet and then instantly trying to draft on my computer because I don't give it enough time to sync with each other and I have corrupted files 2 or 3 times. Luckily, I've been able to save the files. But one of these days, I'm going to do that and I am not going to be able to save the files because I'm just doing too much at once. I also discovered that I do not like editing on my tablet or doing like I usually do a final read through before I send my stories to my beta readers so I could just double check grammar and stuff like that or make sure that everything's formatted correctly and stuff like that. And I don't like doing that for my tablet either because my tablet likes to correct my words. So like the main characters in Sultry Solstice 7, the main character, the love interest name is Sahir, Sahir, and my tablet kept trying to change it to Samir, Samir. And then with Sultry Solstices 6, the main character, her name is Elvina, Elvina. And my tablet kept trying to change it to Elvira, Elvira. And I was just like, no, stop. And it kept doing it, and no matter how many times I corrected it, it just changed it back. And I'm like, so I finally gave up and I waited until I got home and did it from my laptop instead. So that was irritating. So discovered this week I do not like editing or doing final read throughs from my tablet because my tablet hates me. But that's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Kappa says no. It's called Clink. It's just Android. I have an old Kindle, old Kindle, second gen from 2009. I think maybe that's when mine is from too, because I feel like, but the Lenovo I used and love stopped working because Android stopped updating. Dang, that sucks. Wish I could reload the Lenovo with some other op system. Okay, operating system. Got it. I'm just not that technically minded, right? Like my desktop is Windows 10, and I keep getting notifications every once in a while that's like you should upgrade to Windows 11. We no longer support Windows 10. And I'm like, no, stop. So I know the feeling. All right, I think we've been chit chatting a bit. Uh, I didn't even realize Lenovo made. I knew Lenovo made laptops. I didn't realize they made tablets. See how out of the loop I am? I don't even know what's going on anymore as far as technology goes. When I need the technology, I do a little bit of research, find what I want, and then buy it automatically. I've been lucky enough I've been able to do that. But luckily for me, I haven't had to do that recently. And like my desktop is a custom built gaming computer. I specifically wanted it out when I purchased it. I was like, I need this computer to last me 10 years. Build me something with whatever is top of the line that will last me 10 years. And at the time of purchase, which was 2020, everything that's in my desktop currently was top of the line, best of the best. I paid a pretty penny, but I paid for it because I wanted to last 10 years. And my computer, which is older than my husband's gaming computer, his was not a custom built, his was a pre built. Um, my desktop is better than his, and his is newer because mine is now 6 years old as of this year, and his is like 3. So I win. It's got an older operating system, but I win as far as like the technology goes. My graphics card is better. My RAM is better. My SSD is better. Like I'm good. I knew exactly what I wanted. I was like, this is what I want. Give it to me. I don't care about the cost. I had the money back then. I was doing lots of good stuff and had the money. I had also saved for a long time to make sure I had the money because I knew roughly how much a custom computer was going to cost me. And now when I'm ready to like when I am actually ready to update all my stuff, he and I together can just buy the pieces I need and update it ourselves. So that's fun. But I have no idea what I'd be looking at until I get to that point. Because if you asked me right now, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know what's out there. Cat says mine is Windows 10 too. It's a treasure. Lenovo Yoga Tab 3. Yoga? I love that. You remember? Okay, so I don't know if anyone else remembers this. And I think this was a phone thing, not a tablet thing, where like the systems were named after like snacks and foods. All I remember was that I had a tablet at one point before I got my iPad. I had a tablet that was an Android, and the operating system was like something Windows Marshmallow or something, 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 something. And I was just like, the only reason I remember that is because it was a snack. And I remember looking back at updates prior to where it was like which ones it had been prior to Marshmallow, and it was always some kind of snack. And Marshmallow was the next in line because each new update was the next letter. So like L was something like lollipop or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I just remember it was some kind of snack food that started with L. Um, and then each letter before that was another snack type food or sweet treat or something like that. And I just thought that was so fun. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I love the fact that it's Lenovo Yoga because that just reminds me of that. Marshmallow, lollipop, etc. Yes, yeah, okay, you remember. You know where I'm coming from. All right, with that being said, we are going gingerbread. We're going to do another sprint, 30 minutes. I'm going to fix my chair. It keeps sinking. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I can feel it. And I need to figure out why it's not staying up. So I'm going to do that before we get to start. Before I get started on whatever it is I'm going to work on next. Because I have no idea what I'm going to do next. So let's do this. 30 minutes on the clock. Here's our next prompt for anyone who wants to do that. Again, you do not have to. They're just there if you want to write but don't know what you want to write about. And this one says, don't look now, but there's a small dog at your feet acting as if you need protection. So that is our prompt for anyone who wants to use it. Again, you do not have to. 30 minutes on the clock, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, everyone, that is time. Let me know how you did, what you did in the comments. There we go. I was chit chatting with JC, and I posted a couple comments in the chat, and I realized, oh, JC corrected me actually. Thank you, JC. I realized afterwards that I posted it kind of sort of wrong, but that's okay. Because, excuse me. Hi, JC, by the way. Welcome. I mentioned in the last break that I was reading over the first story that's going to be in the next series that all takes place in the Savannah universe. For those who are just jumping in or don't know, I am working on a world of short stories. There's going to be a total of 49. There are 7 different series, each with 7 short stories, and each series has a different theme. The theme of the first one was revolving around 7 sisters who all fall in love with a supernatural creature. The second series follows a bunch of monsters, like Monster in the Closet, Monster in the Bed, stuff like that. The first story of the first series was originally in an anthology. The first story in the second series was originally in an anthology separately before they even became series or part of a series. They were both just standalone story ideas. I'd been invited to both anthologies, and I did 2 completely separate stories. And then it wasn't until later I had enough people ask me to write about the sister who was mentioned in the first story in the first anthology, and I was like, what if she had 7 sisters? What if there were 7 of them total? And so that became a thing. And then it slowly devolved into madness and insanity and became 7 series. So the whole world is called the Savanity universe, and there are 7 different series. So now what I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm getting ready to start editing the first story, which was originally in an anthology, to be the first in a new series. However, because I originally wrote these 2 stories as separate ideas, they're not formatted the same way. The first story was originally an 8,000 word short story. It was originally 7 chapters long, and it was all told from the main POV's character was Tara. And when I decided to turn it into a whole series, a whole thing, I bookended it with the chapters from the male love interest point of view. So chapter 1 was from character A, chapter 2 through 8 was from character B, the original story basically. Chapter 9 was back to character A, and then I added an epilogue which would introduce the the main character of the next story. And so what I've got to decide, and then the story I'm working on now, which is going to be the first in the next series, when it was originally written, it was a 14,000 word story, and it was only 5 chapters long, and it was all told from the monster's point of view. That was it. So now I've got to decide, do I want to format it the same way as the first series, or do I want to leave it as is and tell all the stories in that series that way? So that's the next thing I've got to decide. And I don't know what to do yet, because Sultry Solstices, I don't want any of the stories in any of the series to be longer than 15,000 words. Because this story was already at 14,000 words, if I do change the formatting so that I add the POV of the love interest as well as possibly an epilogue that introduces the next character, I gotta do a lot of trimming, or I gotta make sure those chapters are short. So I'm in a conundrum, and that's why I'm trying to decide what to do. And I haven't decided exactly what I'm gonna do yet. So that's what I spent the past breaks doing is not breaks, past sprints is trying to figure out all that fun jazz. And I was chatting with JC elsewhere about that, asking her opinion. So that's where I currently stand. That's what I've been working on. But let's see what you guys have been up to. JC joined us. Hi, JC. I said hi, but I'm going to say hi again. And she corrected me with what my formatting was with the story. The fact that it was character A for chapter 1, 2 through 8 were character B. Chapter 9 was character A again, and then the epilogue. But anyways, Chaotically Creative joined us. Hello, hello. As long as each character chapter is labeled as to whose POV it is, the order or repetition of said chapters doesn't really matter to me. When I'm writing a dual multi POV book that goes by chapters, some characters just want to yap more often. I don't stick to one specific structure for those things. Stifles me too much. Okay, fair, fair, fair. Oh, excuse me. And I do keep the chapters labeled with who is talking. I also do not write third person. Wow. I also do not write first person, so everything is in third person point of view. I'm not a fan of first person reading or writing. I definitely read more, and I do not write any. I have tried. No, thank you. Laura is back. Says I kept working on homework. Time for a popsicle. Nice. And she sent me photos. Oh, I'm gonna have to go look at photos. Heather has also joined us. Hello, hello. I don't have Instagram on my phone anymore, so anytime I want to look at Instagram stuff, I actually have to physically go to it on the desktop. So that is fun. All right. Let's see, is there any other? Capel says I like when it states whose POV it is and or when if dual timeline. Okay. Yeah, that's the other thing I'll be doing. So currently, I do not have. I was trying not to date the stories by adding like actual dates and years. But one of the things I noticed was that there was a little bit of confusion about like when each of the stories takes place or how long the stories take place as far as like the timeline goes. So when I go to do the collection of short stories and put them together as an omnibus, one of the things I'll be doing is going ahead and adding a date to them because uh, there's been some confusion about that. So that's one of the things I do know I will be doing, at least with the first series. With the next series, not so much. Maybe I still keep up that pattern, um, but I know as long as I get the characters' names of like whose POV it is, that should be good. So I'm with everyone, by the way. As far as like, as long as I know whose POV I'm reading from, I'm good to go. Same, same. Heather says reading in crochet. I think that's supposed to be crochet, crochet. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Laura changed my mind. Brownie and ice cream it is. Ooh, that sounds delicious. I have ice cream. I don't have brownies, but I have ice cream. I might have to go get me a snack on the next sprint. That sounds delicious. All right, I've made it to the end of the comments that I can see. I think we're going to do another sprint instead of sitting around chit chatting because I really don't have much else to talk about. So let's go ahead and do another sprint. Heather says, yes, I'm having lunch. Okay, there you go. That's right. You're in a different time zone. It's like 10:30 at night for me, but I think it's the middle of the day for you. All right, let's do our third sprint. We are going to do 4 sprints tonight, so this is sprint number 3 of 4. And again, 30 minutes. Here is a prompt. Again, you do not have to use it if you don't want to. It says, I wouldn't waste my breath talking about you. You're not worth it. What you did to me, on the other hand, that's more worth discussing. So that is our prompt for anyone who wants to use it. Again, you don't have to. We're going to start this in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, that is time. Everyone, let us know how you did what you did in the comments. I was watching some YouTube videos. I was watching one about, it was a podcast recording about audiobook narration because that's one of the next projects I need to start really seriously thinking about because I want to do audiobooks and I'm probably going to record them myself, at least to start off with, for as far as the Sultry Solstices series goes. Um, and then I had some other YouTube videos playing as well. I had to pause the one I'm currently on so that I could come back from break, or for break, I should say. And I, excuse me, sorry about that. I decided the next thing I need to do is I had mentioned this to JC and then completely forgot I mentioned it. I need to go through all of my story ideas that I currently have on Notion and like read through them and see which ones I'm like still interested in possibly writing someday and which ones are just like that was a good idea but just it's not good for me, so I need to like get rid of them out of my repertoire and put them. One of the projects I'm working on currently is a writing prompt book, and what I'll do with the ideas that I don't personally want to write is I will leave them for a new writing prompt book. So that's what I'm going to do on the next sprint is I'm going to do that because I need to make some decisions about what I'm going to do as far as the short story goes. I'm done editing the writing prompt book, the current writing prompt book that's due to come out. I'm done working on it until I get the sample stories that were submitted, read through, and edited and inserted. Um, then I'm waiting on some final beta feedback for another short story. So like everything is in like drafting process and until not drafting, editing process, and until I get to the next stage of those projects, I have nothing to work on because the journaling I did says the other writing projects that I have are mostly the sequels to that one short story that I mentioned. There is a novel I'll be working on later in September. It is I started writing it in June for the 7-Day Book Challenge. I want to finish it in September for the September 7-Day Book Challenge. And then there is another story that I'll be working on. I've got to reread it. It is a paranormal romance dragon um, dragon slayer, modern day dragon slayer, enemies to lovers story. So that is the next one I've got to draft. I started drafting it. It actually used to be my newsletter's exclusive story, and I'll be posting it to Patreon instead. But I need to get back started on that. But I need to read back through my files, which are not on the computer for some reason. I got to figure out where they are. Hopefully, I still have them. Even if I don't, I have the copies of the chapters that were submitted for newsletter subscribers for a while, so I've got access to what I had written in the past. But it's going to suck if I have to create a whole new Scrivener file for it. So I'll have to figure that out. It's probably just saved under a different name than what I think. Excuse me. So it's just a matter of finding it. But in the meantime, I can go through my story seeds and like get rid of a whole bunch. So, and then I answered a question during the sprint as well, where someone hopped in that I'm not used to seeing, and I was talking about what we were doing. So, let's see. Cat Paw has left us. I'm going to shower and get ready for bed. Good night, all. I don't catch you during the next break. If you are already gone, oh, Cat Paw is back. Back right on time? Yes, you are. Welcome back. Let me know if that can be of any help with the audiobooks. I'm good with the sound stuff. I will let you know. Mostly I'm just in research mode right now. It probably won't be until later this year, early next year, before I'm actually in the process of doing anything with audiobooks because I need to do. Right now, I'm just doing research. The next thing I'll be looking at is like where I want to like publish stuff as far as audiobooks go. Um, Mostly right now, I've just got too many plates. I've got to get paperbacks done. I've got to look into audiobooks. One of the next things I would like to do eventually is I would like to get direct sales set up on my website. I have the capabilities of doing that, but I haven't set it up to actually start doing that yet. So I need to do that. Like, there's just so many plates, and right now my focus since like June has been get Sultry Solstices done. And now that the final book is with beta readers and I'm almost near the end, I'm like, oh, I actually have to be thinking about what's next. What is next? What are we doing? So that is the stage I'm in. I'm in the what's next, what are we doing kind of stage. So, yeah. Renee had a question. I know I probably asked this before, but can't remember what you said. What all do you put in your notebooks? Anything and everything. This one literally just says brainstorm journal. Um, I have everything's written in pencil, so you probably can't read any of it. The first page, whenever I flip open one of these composition notebooks, because I have a ton of these, the first page is always like a table of contents. I handwrite the page numbers at the bottom, at least the odd pages, and so like this one has been a lot of. This has been in process since January because the first entry is January 2nd because I also date them so I can see what I worked on when. And like the first thing in here is like reevaluating my goals. I did a video late December, early January. It was like, this is my goals. And then like a couple days later, I was like, I'm already rethinking them. So I wrote out my thoughts when I was reevaluating those. My thoughts when I was doing some formatting projects for clients. I write out any thoughts I have about, like, not necessarily story ideas, but like, this is what I want to work on next. This is where each story is, kind of things. So, like, the last entry I have in here, I was talking about the fact, what did I title it? Because I title everything. It's literally titled Projects to Edit and Draft. And I was trying to, because eventually what I want to do is I want to get to the point where I'm drafting one story and editing another at the same time. So I was trying to figure out most of my entries for the past 2 weeks have been me trying to figure out what I want to work on for the rest of the year after I finish Sultry Solstices. By the way, we're now at that point where I actually need to start on whatever I've decided. I still haven't decided. So I've done 2 weeks of journaling with no results kind of thing. But this list was which ones do I want to draft for the rest of the year? Which ones do I want to edit for the rest of the year? And so I have 8 projects on my list for drafts and 10 projects on my list for edit. Mostly short stories, like 90% most short stories. Just One Bite is a novel. Blood Like Stained Glass is a novel. Those two are drafting projects. One I'm going to be finishing up in September. I mentioned that one. That was the 7-day book challenge project in June, and I'll finish it in September. I have like 30 to 40K left to write on it, maybe. I think I wrote 40K on it the last 7-day book challenge. And I usually estimate my novels anywhere from 60 to 90K, so which means I have anywhere from 20 to 40K left to write on that story for the first draft. And then Blood Like Stained Glass is going to be anywhere from 60 to 90K as well. And then after that, I've got book 2 through 7 of Monsters Mates, which is the next series in the Serenity universe. It comes after Sultry Solstices. Under my editing, I've got Cry Wolf Sunflower, which is a paranormal romance spicy werewolf. I call it the werewolf smut story. It is a spicy werewolf paranormal romance. What's Your Story is the writing prompt book. Monster's Treasure is that story that I was working on that was originally in an anthology, and it's going to be the first in the Monsters Mates, which is the series that follows Sultry Solstices. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 standalone short stories that 3 of them were published previously. 1, 2, 3. 3 of them were published previously. 2 of them were originally supposed to be anthologies. One anthology never came to be. The other one, it didn't meet the criteria for the anthology, so I didn't end up submitting it. And then 3 stories were originally going to be anthologies. 2 of those anthologies never came to be. 1 I just never submitted to. So that is what is in my notebooks. And like, this is the first one for 2026. I haven't delved into another one yet. Usually I do like 2 or 3 notebooks a year, but I haven't been journaling as much this year. These notebooks, my brainstorm notebooks, are mostly me plotting out like business things that I want to do. Like I want to go do um, in-person events. So like I journaled a little bit earlier this year about what I would need to do so that I could do the farmers market, like set up a table at the farmers market here in town. Um, and like what other events I journaled about what other events might be available locally that I could do if I had like paperbacks or anything physical to sell. I don't, so there was no point. But like I was originally supposed to move to North Carolina this year. I will be moving to North Carolina for sure next year. Um, it just didn't work out for us financially this year, so we're going to be moving next year. We'll definitely have the money by then. I joke with my husband that technically speaking, we have the money to move right now if we sold everything in the house and just left. Like we have money for hotel, money for gas. Like we could get there between we could move tomorrow if we needed to. Like if we absolutely had to and left everything behind, we can move tomorrow. So we're going to be saving up so we can afford the U-Haul to take everything with us. That's where we're at now. So, um, but usually I do like 2 or 3 of these notebooks a year, and it's like budgeting, it's um, stories related stuff, such as like what projects I want to work on next, like planning what project. Do these projects ever come to film it? Most of the time, no. I'm very much the kind of person that starts projects and never finishes them. I'm trying to get better about that. I've been doing really good this year so far. It's been a lot of hard work to do that, to get to that point. I've been writing for like 20 plus years now, publishing for over 10 years. So, yeah, I'm trying to get more consistent with everything. So, there's been a lot of journaling about that and like what I need to do to meet deadlines and stuff. Um, but it's mostly just a brain dump of things that are thoughts in my head that I need to work on to like hit different goals in different situations and stuff. Um, as I watch more YouTube videos about audiobook narration and stuff like that, I'll probably be journaling about that or making notes about different things I need to do. Like I have the supplies I needed to set up like a mini recording booth that I saw on a TikTok from another audiobook narrator who says that they just do audiobook narration in their home, like on their free time between like work. They work from home, so they do like audiobook narration during their breaks and stuff. Um, and so like I have all the supplies I need to recreate the same sound booth that they have. So things like that. But different notebooks get used for different things because I have another notebook that is literally whenever I feel like writing, but I don't want to type a story, I feel like handwriting a story, I'll handwrite a story in a notebook too. So, and I try to make it so that each story gets its own notebook at least until that story's finished. So I've got 2 or 3 notebooks with stories right now written in them that have not been finished yet. So that's fun. Hello, oldest daughter. My oldest has joined us in the comment section. She says hello. Um, yeah, I think that's everything. I probably have more. As I splash myself with monster. We have one more sprint left, and then we're gonna cut off for the night. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us set up for that final sprint. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. It's not deleting my prompts. Luckily, I know what sprint we're on. So for a final sprint today, we have one final prompt. Again, you do not have to use the prompt if you don't want to. This one says, "You've had every opportunity to turn back, and you're still here. What does that say about you, about your goals?" Considering the fact that we're just talking about the fact that I've been writing out my goals for the rest of the year as far as like what projects I want to work on. By the way, that was how many projects was that? 18 between now and the end of the year. 10, yeah, 18. To be fair, it doesn't take me that long to edit a story. Like I'm almost finished with, except for the 2 people who submitted stories. I'm finished with What's Your Story. That's literally the last 2 things I need to do, and then I can format it and publish that. It's coming out in November. Cry Wolf Sunflower, I'm waiting on some final beta feedback. I've already edited up until that point of what the feedback I got so far. Monster Treasure, once I edit it, I'll send it to betas and be like, hey, what you think? And we'll go from there. Like, most of this, the editing doesn't take me that long. I've finished What's Your Story and Cry Wolf Sunflower both on the same day, what I've done so far with both of those. So, editing itself does not take me that long. Drafting takes me longer, and even that, I'm very much I'm a fast draft person. I write my first draft is written out within, like, with short stories, like within a couple of days. I will take longer to edit the first draft, like a week or two if it's a short story. And then after I self edit it, once I send it to beta readers and get their feedback back, usually by the time I send it to beta readers, I'm like 90% happy with the story and like not much is going to change. So when I get their feedback back, that's what usually it takes, like a day or two. Um, so as far as like short stories go, again, since most of what I have that I'm working on the rest of this year is short stories, that's what I'm talking about. Of the projects I have that are on that list, let's see, there was 18 total. 2 of them were novels. One was a nonfiction book, which means that 15 are short stories. So, and most of those were editing projects, not drafting. I have a feeling I will finish all of those as long as I can stay on task as far as the drafting process goes with the monster, because 7 of those stories are six of the drafting projects are um, the same series, the next Savannah Universe series, Monstrous Mates, and I'm drafting those. But I've been thinking about the stories in that world for a little while now, and like I know the plots of all 7 of those stories, including the one I just have to edit. So it's not going to take me. It'll take me longer to write those, only because of the fact that I want to make sure that everything is um, matching with each other as far as like rough word count length, the character POVs, which I asked questions about earlier, and the continue, how everything goes together because it is part of a series. Even though they'll all be able to be read as like standalones, they are technically part of a series, and I want to be able to make sure that like if I mention something in this story, it's the same in this story, kind of thing. Continuity. That does not sound like the right word, but it does sound like the right word. You probably know what I mean. Anyways, Ray asks, how do you stop it from turning into a massive novel and keep it a short story? Sometimes I don't. Fun fact, another story that actually might get to work on later this year, if I can finish all the ones that are currently on my list, is one that I originally meant to be a short story. I've talked about it in the past. It's called A Buck Short. It's about a woman who comes from a long line of witches, but she herself does not have magical powers until her mom does an illegal ritual, and she finds herself with a familiar that is a deer. Um, and it was supposed to be a short story. I haven't finished an actual draft of it, and the last time I did, like I checked on the word count, it was over 30K. So it's now in novella territory, and I wasn't finished with it. I have a sneaking suspicion it'll be really close to novel length. So the answer is I don't. I don't. Um, I do with the ones for the Savannah universe. I keep it to like one plot, and that helps. But like for things that I haven't really plotted out, I usually know when before I even start a novel. Once I have an idea for a story, I usually know what the beginning is going to be, what the ending is going to be. I just have to figure out the stuff in between, and sometimes that stuff in between is what leads it to become a novella and then a novel from a short story. But most of the time, I start writing a project and I have no idea what it's going to end up being until later. So, a lot of my standalone novels were all supposed to be short stories. At least I thought they were going to be short stories. And then I was like, oh, what if I did XYZ? And then I'm sitting and looking at a project that's like 60,000 words. Or, and this is almost worse, not only am I looking at a project that's 60,000 words, I have ideas for like 3 other novels. And I'm like, mother. Okay, let's do this. For anyone who's wondering, most of the stories I have published are all part of series. Like everything I have published so far is all part of a series. I never wanted to be a series writer. I wanted to be a standalone writer. And then I'll be writing a story idea and I'll be like, but what if I wrote this person's story? And all of a sudden I'm like, dang it, no! JC's like, the real question is, does she? No, I don't. JC got it right. And Renee's like, oh, my ideas turned into big series. Yep, see? Same. Nothing wrong with more ideas. JC, I swear to God, do not feed me any more ideas. Okay, so that being said, I think I mentioned this in another stream, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it again just in case I haven't. And I've told JC this because the moment it popped in my head, I was instantly like, ah, no, to JC. So I mentioned the project I was working on for the 7-day book challenge, the one that's like currently sitting at 40K, has another 20 to 30K left to write. It's supposed to be a standalone. It's called Just One Bite. I have a cover for it. Like, the moment it's finished, I'm going to start, I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to do my self-edits before I send it to beta readers. The other day, I was looking at stuff, and I was like, randomly, I wasn't even looking at writing-related things. I was watching a short video that my sister had sent me on TikTok. Had nothing to do with writing. Had nothing to do with anything. And then all of a sudden, my brain was like, so what if you did a story about these side characters in Just One Bite, and you tell their story, and it's called Just One Sip? Mother trucker, I do not need any more story ideas. Especially any more story ideas that turn a standalone into a series. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I am not going to... I want to write a story with that title. I think that title is so cool. But I refuse to write a sequel to Just One Bite. It is a standalone, and I will die on that hill. I never wanted to write series, and all of a sudden, everything's a series. JC the other day, I had to giggle because she was telling me, she was like, you do know you can write standalones. I was like, I know! I wanna! She has no idea how much she fed my insecurity with that the other day. She said that to me, and I started laughing uncontrollably at work because that is what was always my plan. When I first started writing, I never wanted to do series. I was like, I don't want to be one of those people that has like 20 books in a series where you have to read each book in order. And here's where we are today. Everything I write is part of a series now. Jesse's like, I know you, Skye. I didn't feed you the last few ideas you got out of nowhere. I just said, welcome into the idea. Welcome in. There's coffee, tea, hot chocolate. Take your pick. We've got nice comfy couches. Settle in for a good time. Idea cannot merely be refused. Hi, ogre. Hey, baby. You just want attention? Don't knock on my soda, please. Or my monster. So, yeah. I can't stop a story idea from becoming whatever it wants to be, apparently. I have no control over that. None whatsoever. No self-control. No control at all. Sometimes I think a story idea is going to be a short story, and then it becomes a novella, and then it becomes a novel. Sometimes I think something's going to be a standalone, and then it becomes a series. Well, you could just forget the term standalone, right? No. So I do have stuff I want to write that is a standalone and will hopefully stay standalone. Like A Buck Short is the one I was talking about earlier. That the original idea, I was like, oh, it'll be a cute little fun, quick short story that's turned into a novella and wants to probably become a novel. That one will be a standalone. I don't have any ideas, and no one better feed me any ideas. I'm speaking to you, brain. we are not we're not getting any more ideas. That one is going to be a standalone. So, and then I have two other short stories coming out this year. One comes out late in September, I think. Yeah, comes out in September. That is an fairy tale romance. For those who don't know, is male male, so it's a gay romance, and it's like a coming of age fairy tale. I keep saying fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. Coming of age, fairy related fantasy romance short story. Again, another story that was originally in an anthology. It was written, I was invited to an anthology, and they were like, "Can you write this?" And I was like, "Yeah." Boop. And I've gotten the rights back, and I was like, "Let me just publish it as a standalone." So that one is going to be a standalone and continue to be a standalone. I have no desire to continue that one in any shape, form, or fashion. And then I have the werewolf smut, as I like to call it. It literally says werewolf smut on my little tabby thing here, even though the story has a title. It has since like day 2 of conception. Um, Even though there is a full title for that one, I just call it the werewolf smut story, and that one is a standalone as well. So I do write standalones. Just not often, apparently. So, anyways, let's do this final sprint. Fourth and final sprint. 30 minutes on the clock, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, that's time, everyone. Let me know how you did what you did in the comments. That was our last sprint, so I'm going to go ahead and close the timer. Give me just a second to finish what I'm doing. Let me do this. No. Oh, that's done. Fine. Didn't want that anyways. Give me a second. I'm not in love with that. Anyways. Okay, so I was watching some YouTube videos during that sprint. I did some work on the ideas that I had. I cut a couple of them out. Let's see. I have 129 in my list. However, series are listed under one thing. It would be like, um, where's one? Like, I have an idea for like monster romances for holidays. Oops. Not kiddo. I just tossed my notebook on the ground. Thank you. She's headed to bed, guys. Anyways, love you, bye. Bye. But I have one that's like a monster romance where each one's like for a different holiday, and so it's like the story idea is labeled monster holidays, and inside that story idea, I've got like I want to do one for like New Year's Eve, Valentine's, and all the holidays that. Let's see, what holidays did I include? Where's that? I might use the search bar. That might go faster. Search holiday. That is not how you spell holiday. Holidays with Monsters is the name of the idea. And in like my little brainstorming session, I've got New Year's, Valentine's, St. Patrick's, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Independence Day, back to school, Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Krampus Day, Christmas. Like I had ideas. And I was just basically brain dumping those ideas in that section. So, but like that would become a series of short stories. But it counts as one idea. So I have 129 individual ideas, is what I was getting at with all that. And I got rid of a couple. It's down to 129 now because I got rid of a couple. And I just. I still have more to get rid of, but that's what I've cut so far. There are a bunch of like some of my older ones. I have them written as ideas. They are stories that were originally handwritten that I haven't translated to the computer and haven't gone to find the documents to see if I want to translate them to the computer. So those ideas might disappear too, eventually. It just depends on what I determine when I actually sit down to. Oops. Why aren't changes saved or whatever? It was telling me I was not allowed to close the document. Anyways, all of that said, my story idea used to be like almost over 200, so I've cut it down a lot. I'm not mad. It's down to 129 now. And that's just like the story seeds. Those aren't the ones that like I have started working on projects or like I know I will work on the projects. That's just like ideas that I may or may not write someday in the future. Um, we're not going to talk about how many story ideas I have. One of the things I journaled was like all the things I want to write and publish between now and the end of 2030 because my 5-year planner goes until 2029, and I want to get to the point where I can start predicting what I'm going to publish the next year, the year before. So that was one of the things that I was doing too. Is like I was predicting projects I can work on between now and then. So like I've got I've got a whole bunch of lists in here that are projects that I want to work on, not only for the rest of this year, but like the projects I want to work on in, where is that? 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030. And a lot of them are like series. Like in 2027, I have on here that across the entire year, I would like to work on 2 of the series that are in the Serenity universe, series 3 and 4. I have a novel series that I want to rewrite. 2 of them are currently published. I need to tighten them up, edit them, and then create that continuity. What is the word I'm looking for? That was a series that follows one character across time. And book 3 and 4, as I was writing them, there were some things that I needed to change about 1 and 2 to make everything make sense as far as like the plot goes. So I wanted to work on all 4 of those. There is another short story series of 4 books I want to write, and then I've got 3 standalone. One is a short story, one is a novel, and one is the one that was a short story, is currently a novella, and might become a novel if it has its way. So like that's a lot of projects. Did I number that? Was that numbered? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 technically, but if you do it by number, that is a lot more than 7. Let's see, 7 times 2 plus 8 plus 1, 2, 3. That's 25 projects next year. But that's between both editing and drafting. Anyways, we'll see what I can actually get done. I've gotten a lot done this year, all things considered, and we still got a lot more to go. But yeah, that's a lot of what I journal too. Is like, what could I work on, and start planning out what I want to work on. Do I use it as like a procrastination rather than working on stuff? Yes, absolutely. This is a lot of what's in here as far as like future planning. This is what I should work on next, kind of thing. 99% of the time, it's procrastination rather than actually doing the work. Not gonna lie. I could probably get so much more done if I stopped procrastinating by writing all the lists in here and all the journaling of like, this is what I should work on next. This is where each of these stand. And I could just revert back to what I've done in the past and work on actual finishing stuff. I'd have a lot more stuff done. Just say. Laura did more homework. JC said goodnight, kiddo. So yeah. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. That's done. I don't know why it's doing that. So yeah, I got more story ideas that I need to cut from this list because I do not want to write this many. And yeah, I'll go from there. I was also listening to YouTube and watching YouTube videos while I was doing that as well. I have 1 left on my watch later list. I did a thing. Anyone who's followed me for a while knows that I hate having more than 100 videos on my watch later list. And while I was taking hiatus, I just kept adding videos to my watch later list without actually watching any of said videos. I finally cleared the whole list. Like I just deleted everything from the list. And I've been adding, when I feel like watching YouTube, I've been adding the videos I want to watch that day. So like I started off today with 11 videos on it. I have now hit the last one. It is a 40-minute video. I am not going to watch it tonight. I will watch it tomorrow. But that was the last video on my list for today that I had to watch. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing for a little while. I am behind on videos as far as like I was trying to keep up with so many people. I was just getting overwhelmed. I finally went through and unsubscribed to a bunch of channels where like I'm not watching any of their videos while I'm subscribed to them. I unsubscribed to a bunch of people who do live streams only because I don't participate in a lot of live streams. Like, I want to support all these people, but at the same time, if I'm not watching their content, why am I going to continue being subscribed to them, kind of thing? So, my list is a lot shorter than it used to be, which makes it less overwhelming and less daunting. And then, of course, I still get recommended videos all the time based on what I do tend to watch. And I've got always in every single one of my live streams, and I think it's linked in my videos too, but I know it's in my live streams. I have a video, a link to a what is it called? A playlist, yeah, for AuthorTube and writing playlist, which has like a list of everyone out there that creates videos for AuthorTube. There are a lot of people on that list. Right now, it's at 749. So I could always go back and like subscribe to people. I'm not worried about it when I get to the point where I'm like less overwhelmed. But for now, while I'm trying to focus more on like writing and editing and publishing, and I'm not watching as many videos, now is not the time, basically, is what it comes down to. So eventually I'll get caught up. Today is not that day. This video is not that video. But with all that being said, I think this is where we're going to wrap it up tonight. I am tired. I want to go to bed. My husband went to bed at the very beginning of this last sprint. The kiddo just went to bed. I am going to get up early tomorrow and hang out with some people backstage so that we can get some stuff done. I've got to figure out what I'm going to get done during that time period. But, yeah. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I think this is where we're going to wrap it up. I hope everyone was very productive and got things done. I know that even though I was bouncing all over the place, I am actually fairly happy with everything I got done tonight too. It seems like it was days like today. It seems like I got nothing done, but I finished editing, self-editing, based on beta feedback, one story up until their last comment. I finished organizing the writing prompt book so that all I have left is the examples now. So that's that. I have to make some decisions with the start of the next series in the Savannah universe. So, like, I've worked on things. It was just various different things, and I accomplished a little bit here and there with all those things. So I'm fairly happy with what I got done. Eventually I'll get to the point where I'm like wrapping up the projects that are publishing this year, and I can actually get into what I will be working on for next year. Very soon, actually. That's what my last journaling thing was about. And I might even add more projects to this list as I get stuff done, or as I'm in limbo with different things. Like as I finish each of the Monstrous Mate stories, I am going to have to do those in order. So, like, I may have to take a break from stuff and work on other things in the meantime. I don't know why I'm so itchy all of a sudden. But, yeah. Did I leave that up the entire time? I thought I hit that. Anyways. So, yeah. That is it. I got nothing else. I eventually will return to doing videos. I don't know when. I made a discovery earlier today. I was coming home from work, and there was something really cool going on. The local farmer at the end of my road was baling hay, and there was a couple of deer watching him bale the hay. So they usually run from all the vehicles, but they were standing in the field watching him bale hay on a tractor. And I was going to take a video clip, and I turned my camera on my phone, and it just did not work. It was just a black screen. And I really think it's because a couple weeks ago now I dropped my phone and I cracked the screen, and it is cracked in this corner, and it kind of travels along the screen, and it's the actual screen. It's not a screen protector. I had taken the screen protector off in preparation to switch out the case, and the day before I was gonna switch out the case was when I dropped the phone and cracked the actual screen. But so the crack is right here, and the cameras are right here. And I think there's some internal damage to the cameras because when I turn the camera on, it just goes to a black screen. So because of that, I wasn't able to get a really cool vlog clip that I thought would have been awesome to include in a vlog. But also it means that I can't record videos unless I use my webcam for the foreseeable future. So I don't know what that means for videos currently. I am still figuring that out. We shall see what happens. But in the meantime, I will continue doing live streams. Like I said, since I am working next Saturday, I might do a live stream on Sunday instead. I haven't decided yet. And then we'll go from there. The next thing I need to do is plan my streams for the 7-day book challenge, because we are literally a couple of days away from September, and the next 7-day book challenge is I want to say September 21st. Nope, that's wrong. Oh, wait, might be right. Yeah, September 21st to September 27th is the next 7-day book challenge. So I got to plan my daily live streams for that. But yeah, um, that's it. That's everything. I probably have more, but I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired. And it's after midnight. And I'm going to turn into a gremlin from a mogwai. So, thank you for joining me. If you don't know who I am, my name is Skye. I tend to write fantasy. I write longer novels and novellas under the name S.D. Hegyes, and I write short stories under the name Kota Hegyes. I've done a whole spiel. Maybe I'll do a video later about that eventually. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. Bye, everyone.